In your opinion, where are the most successful African startups incorporated? Nigeria? Kenya? Senegal? South Africa? Nope, it's Delaware. In fact, around 95% of African startups that raise more than $1 million are incorporated outside of Africa. Most of them don't move their operation, they don't move their teams, they don't even move their customers. They create a holding company, often in Delaware, Dubai, or Mauritius. And this is not about running away from Africa, it's about how you can set the right structure to attract international investors. So let's break it down. So first, what is a holding company? A holding company is a parent company that owns shares in one or more operating companies. Your operating company stays in Kenya, Nigeria, or Senegal, or wherever you actually run your business, but your holding company sits on top of it and owns it. Investors then come with the funding into the holding company, not directly into the local entities. Why? Two main reasons. First, legal safety, and second, tax efficiency. So why do investors prefer holdings? Most international investors are not really comfortable investing directly into African operating companies. Not because they don't believe in the opportunity, but because they fear our local legal system. In jurisdictions like Delaware, the corporate law is extremely well established, investors' rights are clearly defined, instruments like safe notes are easily framed and used, and most importantly, contracts are enforceable very quickly and constantly. If something goes wrong, shareholder disputes, governance conflicts, fraud, or bankruptcy, investors know exactly what happened next, and they trust the American system to protect their interests. In many African countries, even when the law exists on paper, the reality can be different, especially for a foreigner. Court processes can take years, legal outcome can be unpredictable, and enforcement can be complicated by bureaucracy and weak institutions. So a holding company gives investors something very specific, a structure where the rules are clear, the courts are reliable, and legal protection is stronger. It's not always about doubting African founders, it's about reducing legal uncertainty. The second reason why holdings matters is for taxes. A well-structured holding allows profit to move upstream legally. The operating companies generate revenue locally, but after taxes, profits can be distributed to the holding as dividends, management fees, royalties, or IP rights, depending on your structure. If it's done correctly, you avoid double taxation, you simplify cross-border investments, and you prepare for future exits for the sales of your company. It also allows investors to generate additional revenues through dividends without being taxed twice, which brings us now to where you should start this holding. So now, where is the best place for you to incorporate this holding? There's usually three types of countries we've seen with African founders. Delaware is very popular with venture capital. It has strong legal protection, high credibility with investors, but it can be more expensive to maintain and it's not always tax neutral. Usually, setup cost is between $800 to $3,000 with maintenance cost of around $1,000 per year. Delaware has an income tax of 8.7% with Delaware sourced income, but most of the time, African companies don't have income sourced from Delaware. The second most liked jurisdiction is Dubai. Increasingly attractive, very business-friendly and tax-efficient, and with good access to Middle East and global investors. So there is a growing appetite from African founders. Usually it will cost you around $3,000 to $10,000 to set up, and every year you'll need to pay around $2,000 up to $15,000 to pay for accounting and legal fees. It will really depend on your business license. But in the UAE, corporate tax is generally 9% with the possibility of getting 0% if you're qualified in the free zone. And the last one, very well-known jurisdiction, is Mauritius. Long used as a gateway into Africa, Mauritius has many tax treaties with many African countries. It can be lower cost in the long run and is still very acceptable with institutional investors if it's structured properly. The setup cost can vary between $2,000 and $8,000 depending on the type of company you're setting up, with maintenance cost up to $8,000. The corporate tax is announced at 15% on the income, but most of the time the effective tax rate is around 3% because of the qualified income that you can include in the tax. All of those can sound quite attractive, but there is no one-size-fits-all type of holding. There's only the right country for your stage, for your investors, and for your growth plan. You have to tailor it to you. So be careful, not all tax-friendly jurisdictions are acceptable for your business. And on top of this, be careful with the countries, especially certain countries in Caribbean island or Cyprus are on the blacklist or the grey list of some investors and government institutions. You need to build an optimized holding structure which is not a delinquent structure. This is why legal advice is not optional here. A holding company is a powerful tool, but only if it's structured properly with a lawyer. Don't copy what another startup did without understanding why. Don't choose a country just because it's cheap, and never structure for taxes alone. Structure to make sure it is investable. If you're thinking about setting up a holding company and don't know where to start, you need to be connected with lawyers and experts who actually understand African startup structures. Join the Tungane Foundation community. We've built a full knowledge database, mentor matchup for founders across the continent with templates, tools, and ebooks to help you start and grow your business. Remember, we're in this together. Let's unite to build the Africa we want.